terbaru dan terlengkap dengan mengunjungi portal official website Admission UBI di admission.ubi.ac.id. Pada homepage telah tersedia informasi berupa banner dan pop-up poster yang mengarahkan ke halaman informasi mengenai program Ikatan Dinas dan beasiswa PT Pos Indonesia Persero. Langkah kedua, lakukan pendaftaran awal. Setelah mengetahui informasi secara lengkap, berikutnya kamu bisa klik tombol daftar atau kunjungi link join.ubi.ac.id untuk melakukan pendaftaran tahap awal secara online. Langkah ketiga, pembayaran pendaftaran. Jika proses pendaftaran awal kamu sudah berhasil, maka akan muncul informasi untuk melakukan proses pembayaran pendaftaran sebesar Rp480.000. Biaya pendaftaran ini termasuk untuk biaya pendaftaran Ikatan Dinas, biaya TPA atau tes prestasi akademik yang secara otomatis terdaftar pada jalur reguler di pilihan program studi kedua. Langkah keempat, login kembali ke sistem. Setelah proses pembayaran selesai, maka kamu diharuskan login kembali ke sistem PMB dengan menggunakan ID pendaftar dan PIN yang sudah kamu dapatkan sebelumnya. Langkah kelima, lengkapi data diri. Pada tahapan ini, pendaftar diminta untuk melengkapi data diri secara online yang terdiri dari biodata, berkas administrasi, nilai rapor, pengumpulan data, jadwal seleksi, hasil seleksi, dan daftar ulang. Proses seleksi. Jalur Ikatan Dinas dan beasiswa PT Pos Indonesia Persero melalui beberapa tahapan seleksi, diantaranya seleksi tahap pertama yaitu seleksi administrasi pelaksanaan online. Seleksi tahap kedua yaitu tes potensi akademik pelaksanaan online. Seleksi tahap ketiga yaitu tes kesehatan di klinik kimia farma terdekat. Pelaksanaan tes psikotes dan wawancara serta penetapan mahasiswa yang diterima dilaksanakan dan ditetapkan oleh manajemen PT Pos Indonesia Persero. Langkah ketujuh, pengumuman kelulusan. Cek pengumuman kelulusan kamu di join.ubi.ac.id. Langkah ke-8, daftar ulang. Dokumen yang wajib diunggah yaitu surat pernyataan daftar ulang, surat keterangan kelakuan baik dari kepolisian atau sekolah, kartu keluarga, akte kelahiran, surat keterangan sehat, ijazah terakhir, dokumen penunjang lainnya. Panduan daftar ulang dapat diunduh melalui admission.ubi.ac.id. Langkah yang terakhir, informasi NPM. Jika semua proses telah dilalui, nomor pokok mahasiswa atau NPM akan didapatkan dan bersiaplah untuk mengikuti perkuliahan. Terima Terima kasih Ulian. Sampai berjumpa di Bandung.
Universitas Logistik dan Bisnis Internasional, wadah nyata pembangun bangsa berdasarkan Pancasila. Siap mengundang amanah, penyaji insan kompeten, kritis kreatif dan inovatif, berjiwa satria sejati. Canda di muka matamu, karakter dan keterampilan, disiplin dan kerja keras, kualitas akan dalam. Di peradaban dunia yang syarat dengan dinamika, berbentuk kualitas ilmu dan integritas, sambut hari kemenangan gemilang. Good evening, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good evening.
Okay, before we start,
Good evening, Miss.
okay,
Evening, Miss.
okay, good evening. So before we start, I'd like to remind you to use the virtual background that already has been sent on the chat room, okay? Okay, welcome to the first launching of ULBI Global Lecture, a distinguished academic forum proudly hosted by Universitas Logistik and Business International, or ULBI. My name is Widya Risdiana, and I'm very honored to be your MC for this evening lecture. Before we start tonight's lecture, allow me to read you a pantun in English, yeah? So it has been our tradition to say pantun before we start everything, right? So don't forget to say cakep, yeah? Okay. Walking to the market to buy some tea.
Cakep.
Took the wrong path, ended up in venture.
Cakep.
Welcome all with hearts so bright here in ULBI, where
Cakep.
smart minds meet. Where smart minds meet at ULBI Global Lecture.
Cakep.
Okay.
Tuh.
Thank you. Okay, first and foremost, we would like to sincerely acknowledge and extend our appreciation to our beloved rector, Professor Inyoman Pujawan. Good evening, Professor Nyoman.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Michael.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, nice to see you here.
Yeah.
Okay, so our beloved rector has supports initiatives and give all dedication that have made this ULBI Global Lecture possible. And also good evening to our Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Professor Agus Purnomo.
Good evening, Miss Widya. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, so we are also deeply grateful for the presence of our distinguished speaker, Dr. Michael Wang. Good afternoon, Dr. Wang.
Yeah, good evening, good afternoon.
Yeah. And last, we would like to extend our appreciation to our colleagues, lecturers, and students from ULBI and other institutions who have joined us today. This global lecture is ULBI's effort to strengthen academic collaboration and promote knowledge exchange across borders. Today, we are honored to welcome Dr. Michael Wang from Kingston University, United Kingdom, who will deliver a lecture on the timely and important topic of international logistics. Before we begin, please allow me to share some technical details. Kindly keep your microphone muted throughout the session to avoid disruption. Don't forget to use the virtual background that we have shared on chat room. Jangan lupa gunakan virtual background yang sudah di-share di chat room. And then you must raise your hand. You may raise your hand or submit your question via Zoom's chat room, and we will address the question later in the Q&A session. Don't forget to register your attendance via the link on the chat room for a certificate at the end of the session. Jangan lupa mengisi absensi di akhir session nanti di link yang akan kami kirimkan di chat room-nya ya. Untuk sertifikat. Now, let us proceed to the next session. A welcoming remark by Director of ULBI, Professor Dr. Insinyur I. Nyoman
Okay,
Jawan.
thank you, Ibu
To
Widya.
Professor Nyoman, the
Good
time is
evening,
yours.
everyone. I'm going to be very short. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Michael Wang, a friend of mine, who is now already with us here to deliver a public lecture related to international logistics. Thank you very much, Dr. Wang. You have accepted our invitation to become a young professor in our university and also to deliver this very first general lecture. There are a lot of students attending, so I see almost 150 participants this evening. So evening here in Indonesia and afternoon in the UK. But in addition to students, the lecture is also attended by a number of faculty members and also some people from the industry. So I think the topic is interesting. So that's why many people are attending your lecture. So we are going to continue doing this kind of lecture in the future, maybe at least twice in 1 year. So thank you very much, Dr. Wang, for your support. So I think that's all that I would like to say this evening, and we will listen to your lecture. Thank you. Back to you, Bu Widya.
Okay, thank you very much for your remark, Professor. Okay, now before we proceed to the main session, we would like to have a photo session first, everyone. So please turn your camera on. Don't forget the virtual background because we are going to have photo session at the very beginning of before the session begins. Okay, so are you all ready? Okay. So we will have Mr. Idai, who is the operator for tonight. I'm going to give the instruction 1, 2, 3, and Mr. Idai will take the photo together. Okay, is everyone ready? I don't see Mr. Hillman there. Mr. Hillman, are you joining us? I cannot see your face.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, so I think everyone ready, Mr. Idai. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, let's have one more photo session.
Yes.
Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Is it enough, Mr. Iday?
And last screen, wait.
Okay. Okay, last screen.
Okay.
Don't forget to smile. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, without further ado, let us proceed to the main session. Allow me to introduce our speaker and lead us through this evening's lecture. Okay, Dr. Michael Wang is a course director of Master of Science Logistics and Supply Chain Management and senior lecturer in Sustainable Operation and Supply Chain Management at Department of Management, Kingston University, London, United Kingdom. He obtained his degree in Operation and Supply Chain Management and Management at the University of Auckland, New Zealand, and a PhD degree from RMIT University, Melbourne, Australia. Over the past years, Dr. Wang has been teaching undergraduate and postgraduate students, supervising research students, and conducting research projects in several universities in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Arab Emirates. His current main research areas are supply chain management, sustainable operations, innovation management, sustainability technologies, supply chain risk management, transport, and international logistics. So, ladies and gentlemen and students, please welcome Dr. Michael Wang. So, Dr. Wang, are you ready?
I try to share my slides, but I can't share. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is disabled maybe. Okay.
Okay, so yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So all right. So I just use the slides from your screen.
Or you want to share by yourself? Maybe is it better for you?
Yeah. So maybe you can enable my.
Ya, kasih akses untuk bisa share sendiri.
We already
Okay,
have.
you can share now.
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can see your
Yes, but I
screen.
think you need to. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So thank you for joining us today. It's my great honor to attend this session. Today I'm going to talk about the international logistics. So I give this topic is global movement. So today I'm going to. So first of all, I just give you a brief introduction. I think you already give a very detailed introduction on me. And that's my email address. You can send me an email if you have any questions, or and also you have my LinkedIn account. You can follow me or add me. So today, this agenda we're going to cover First of all, we're going to give you an introduction of what is the international logistics, and we will go through what's the key drivers, the main drivers of the international logistics. We will discuss about some issues and some hot topics. For example, the U.S.-China trade war. What would be the implications of the trade war on the international logistics? We will cover some fundamental concepts, different type of the international transport, and we'll cover the trade documents, income terms, and also some compliance issues related to the logistical operation. And we're going to cover and discuss about logistic challenges in the international context. And also we'll give some time to everyone audience to ask the question. We can talk about any questions, issues. Right. So today, that's the learning outcome I prepared. So we're going to understand the international logistics operation and what's the key drivers and some important components of the international logistics. We will go through those fundamental concepts and, for example, different type of the transport modes. Income terms, we give some key examples how we can apply into the international logistics. And also we will focus on the two important topics, technology, digitalization, and sustainability. This is currently the two hot topic in the international logistics. And this will also help you understand the complexity in the global supply chain. We'll invite everyone to ask a question, discuss some topics you like to discuss. So first of all, introduction. International logistics is today's topic. Okay. The main difference from the international logistics and the domestic logistics is across the different countries, right? Often when we discuss about logistic management, we also often just focus on one countries, one regions. But when we look at the international logistics, often across the different countries. So you are dealing with different systems. You have to go through the different policies. For example, the customs. You have to understand the different requirements, regulations. And the international logistics played a very important role to supporting the international global supply chain operation. Nowadays, international supply chain become one of the important topic. You see what happened in the trade war, globalization, that really changed the way the business model, how they're going to develop the delivery the product and service to the customer. Because if you can't deliver the product and service, you can't sell your products. So that's why today the other thing I wanted to emphasize is about the products. Because when you study, I believe most of the students here are studying logistics and supply chain management. But you should remember, logistics is also part of the business management. You should understand the products, the service, or what's the offering, and what's the objectives you want to achieve, and this will better help you to plan your logistics operation. Okay, so so international logistics also involve the more complex process, as I already mentioned before. The difference between the logistic and the domestic logistic operation, that involve the more difficult process. So that's why for the international logistics, you have to understand the potential issues, problems, and planning and negotiating. This is scales. Most student, you need to understand and how to dealing with the different parties, not just for your business supplier, and also your agents and also the governments. That's a very important role. If you see what happened, the U.S.-China trade war, right? It's a lot of the ideas come out like China plus one strategy, reshoring. So that's logistic person is not only the person to managing the delivery and storage. Okay, so you have to have kind of the problem solving skill to planning what's the best way to deliver your product and service to your final customer, and solve those problems related to the logistics. Because if you can't deliver your product and service, that means you can't make doing the business. You can't sell your product, can't make the money. But we're going to talk about more later. Oh, by the way, for the international logistics, you should understand when we talk about the logistics. I don't know how much you understand about logistics. The difference between the logistic and the supply chain. Yeah. So logistics focus on the two important things. When we talk about logistics, it's about transportation and also storage, right? So you have to understand how you're going to move your products from A to B, and where you're going to store your products. Because when you think about the B2B business transaction, for example, the containers, if you have large transactions, normally have large volumes of the product, high value products, where you're going to store, where you're going to keep your products. That's one of the concern. So logistics is about, two things you have to keep in your mind, transportation and storage. And for international logistics, you have to think about how you're going to transport your goods across the different country, across the border, and how you're going to sort out all the not just process, relationships, and also the documents. For the international logistics, as already mentioned, you have to have kind of the business thinking. What kind of the strategy you're going to apply? If we look at the detail of the international logistics, there are two main phases of moving the materials. One is moving the materials, parts, supplies, those raw materials. The other type of the movement will be the final products to the customer, right? So one is like B2B and B2C transaction. So now we understand the big picture of what is the international logistics now, the difference between the international logistics and the logistics management. Now we look at the key drivers. Today I just summarize those important drivers. One is the globalization. So globalization, I believe you guys often hear. Now they have a lot of arguments, but here globalization is simply understand the free movement of the goods, capital, money, service, people, technology, information across different countries, across the border. So that's why there's an increasing demand for the international logistics and also the global supply chain. So that's why when we talk about the international logistics, we are not just because today we're going to focus on the freight movements, and also they include the passenger travel as well. So that's why the globalization has a huge impact on the international logistics from, of course, the different countries. So that's why when we talk about the international logistics, we look at it normally we talk about different countries. So that's why we not just understand the products, service, the procedure, and we also have to understand the different culture. For example, if you're dealing with the different countries, they have different culture, traditions, language. You should understand, and the different type, kind of the process. It's kind of the we will talk about later. So the other important of the globalization is the market change, right? So because the driving of the business model, the change become the globalized markets. So business now is moving the products. They can manufacturing in one country and they supply to the different markets. You see, China is now they become the the number one largest manufacturing country in the world. So they almost dominate the entire supply chain, so they can try to reduce the costs of the production, and so that's why how they keep the products more competitive, and the supply to the different countries. So that's why you should understand, there's those important drivers, and also the globalization of the markets. They offer the benefits and opportunity to both small and the large organization. So this has a huge impact on the business operation. Globalization of the production, as already mentioned before, this is one of the important factor you should understand. Then where you're going to place your products and how you're going to set up your supply chain, this has a huge impact on your logistic operation. And also a different type of the products, also the nature of the products also will have an impact on your logistic operation as well. For example, if you are the pharmaceutical company, you deliver a high value products, often you're going to use air freight. Air freight is more costly, but and have a quick delivery time. If you are the publishing company, books, furnitures, large heavy items, often you using a sea freight because they cost less, because you're going to focus on the cost efficiency. So that's why as already mentioned, there's when we look at the logistics operation, you are not just thinking about the transportation, and also you should understand what's the organization goal, what's your company wanted to achieve, what's the strategy you're going to apply. I always told my students there's no right or wrong strategy in the operation, right? So the managers have, the leaders have to think about the future. Where are they going to going to achieve? What's the targets? Are they going to focus on the cost efficiency, or they wanted to increase the market share, or they wanted to maximizing the customer satisfaction? Because the different type of different goals and different objectives lead to a very different operation. So the production, and one example, you see they're being outsourcing to China because of since the pandemic and the trade war between China and US. It's the international global production now is moving to a different country. The trade war is still ongoing. There's a lot of uncertainties in the future. but always, the business leaders, the managers, always looking for the cheaper place to produce, manufacturing the products. So outsourcing is one of the important topics. If you study the logistics, you often hear about outsourcing, where you're going to decide where you're going to produce your products in-house or you're going to outsourcing. So logistics has been widely outsourced. If you search those leading logistic provider, service provider like DHL, FedEx, TNT, nowadays they're not just offering the logistic deliveries, they're offering the entire supply chain solution. So that's why, so this is a huge driver of the international logistics. The other important impacts of the events, US-China trade war. I believe most of you hear this. It began in 2018, and nowadays it's still ongoing, as already mentioned. They create huge uncertainty in the global markets and also the global system. You can consider this is kind of the events, deglobalization events. The Trump, there's a lot of the news you can see, but from my perspective, from logistic perspective, US-China trade war just ending the uncertainties, and managers, they have to think about the way how to mitigate. Publish some papers about the trade war. But today you can see the businesses leaders, they still try to find a way to work out the best solution. Similar like the pandemic, right? Since the pandemic started, no one knows how long they're going to last, what will happen next. So it will take time to find the way. But I believe this will become the globalization 2.0. The global supply chain nowadays will split up, per China and per US. That's from my personal opinion. So where they're going to, how they're going to continue, this will be very huge uncertainties. And also there's a huge impact on, the Chinese manufacturing operation as well. If you're interested, you can read the article about the China's BRI. Maybe they give you some of direction and the idea how this going to. So, but we look at the trade war, they have a huge impact on the society, not just the logistics, but here today we look at what's the impact on the logistics. First of all, they definitely increase the costs. You see Trump administration and the tariff on the goods, so they're definitely increasing the costs on the entire supply chain. And also they have changed the trade route, and for example, the production, they're moving to the different countries, South Asian, as I already mentioned before, China Plus One strategy. And also there's delays in the customs. You might saw some news, DHL stop all the shipping from Hong Kong to America. So that will have delays or the shipment. And also the resilience strategy as well, how you to develop your business resilience, for example, the supply chain agility to help you to managing those kind of events, uncertainty. The other important driver of the globalization would be the technology, digitalization. with the development of the technology, they have a huge impact on the not just about the societies and also the transportation. You see we have nowadays the huge large aircraft A380. They are not carrying the passengers. They also offer the large volume of the air freights and also the shipping vessel. If you see the largest vessel nowadays, they can carry over hundreds of thousands container. So the technology, they drive they change the way how they're going to planning your logistics operation, and also Industry 4.0. Now it's Industry 5.0. Also has a huge impact on the global logistics. One of the significant change will be the traceability, transparency. Because without the technology, you can't check your shipment. I remember 20 years ago, about 20 years ago, if you send your parcel to your friends or families or send a post, you can't check, right? You send out your goods, you have to wait, days, weeks to arrive. Nowadays, once you send your parcel, you can check in your goods, your parcel, your shipment online, and you can see where your items, when they're going to be delivered and who's going to receive it. So they have a huge impact on the logistics and for business model as well, because nowadays the online business, Alibaba, for example, they're one of the largest Chinese online retailer. They're selling the goods to the most Western countries without paying the storage and the warehousing. So they just send straight from China factory to the customer. And also there's a lot of the nowadays the automation. There's other important research topic. How you're going to utilize using the technology to support the human manual worker, right? How AI, there's other important topics today. AI going to have huge impact on the logistics as well. Some company in the UK, they already start using AI to planning the route. I had some student projects. They're working with the company, but they find there's some issues. As I said, AI is still at the early stage now, but they will have a huge impact the future, especially for not just logistics and for supply chain, inventory management, demand forecasting. So AI will definitely improve the efficiency, because efficiency is about money. The business is always looking for the profit, always looking for the money. So technology, one thing is, the reason technology becomes so popular because they can improve the efficiency, they can help the business. And also nowadays, logistics supply chain become more data-driving decision making, rather than based on your experience, which is important in the logistic and supply chain. But nowadays, more and more organization, they understand the driving decision making based on the data, and then they can offer more accurate and more efficient decision. Some examples they've been used for the international logistics so far, like DHL, smart sensor. They help the tracking the package, and also they have using blockchain for the shipping, recording, and digital twins. So you can, if you're interested, you can search those example and help you understand how they're going to apply into the international logistics operation. The other important part is the concept is Industry 5.0. The difference between Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0 is focused on human-centric, okay? How you, and building a more sustainable and resilient system to support the industry. So this Industry 5.0 was proposed by the EU Commission. So they propose the technology should serve the people and the planet, right? So that's why when we use the technology, we have to think about how we're going to supporting, how we're going to build a more sustainable and resilient logistics to minimizing the delays and minimize the disruption of the supply chain. So we need the people, to create a new idea. So that's why innovation played an important role in those technology implementation. Right, now we move to the next topic about the international transport mode. There's a popular, different type of the transport, type of the transport in the international logistics. We have air, sea, rail, road, pipeline. So the difference between the different type of the transport mode, traditionally, as already mentioned before, they focus on the cost, speed, and the capacity. Nowadays, we are not looking at the just cost and also the speed, and also we have to think about the environmental impact. For example, the carbon emissions. So you can see from different type of the transport, the cost, they have a different type of the characteristics. So that's why you have to think about what's the best way when you're planning your logistics network, what's the best way to delivery, and how you can deliver it to the destination. Because when you're managing a business, the real world situation is more complex. I remember when I worked in the Oxford University Press, we supply the books to over 200 different countries. Each country, they have the different rules, they have different regulation, different customs requirements. So you should understand each country, the destination country, familiar requirements, how you can deliver your products. For example, we have one of the projects delivery to the we support all the government books to the Papua New Guinea. I think very close to the Indonesia. We deliver all the books to the local school. The only delivery mode is used via the DHL, right? So no matter which courier company you use, they always using DHL. And the DHL only can have the scooter, they have a little island, so they're using a scooter to deliver the package. So all the package, you have to pack less than 20 kilo. When I remember, you can't put it on a pallet, otherwise they can't deliver it because they will sit in the depot, the little depot forever, so they can't deliver it. So you must pack it into a small box, less than 20 kg, so they can put on a scooter to deliver it. So that's why there are so many examples. When you're managing the logistics, you have to think about, understand the where you're going to deliver it, who's you're going to use. Are you going to use a third party? Are you going to use your own delivery company or the delivery member, the vehicle? And the most important things about the products, the nature of the products. Sometimes even the same different same products, maybe you have a different requirements. Sometimes you have to deliver it quickly. You use an air freight. Sometimes not urgent. You can use the sea freight. So sea freight is the cheapest one in the international logistics. So that's why I remember first year I joined the Oxford University Press, I redesigned the entire system for Australia and New Zealand. I'm based in Melbourne. The first year we save nearly 30% of logistic costs. So because what they do, they using the air freight, sea freight mixed. Sometimes they think the sea freight is cheap. They using they send some people they send 20 kg, 50 kg via the sea freight. If you're familiar with international shipping, that's very expensive. The port charge, everything end up. The sea freight is more expensive than the air freight, even if it depends on the size of the shipment. So what I do, I changed for those less than 100 kg, less than 70 kg. We did some calculation. Less than 70 kgs shipment, we using the courier delivery, much quicker and cheaper and more effective. If the goods is over 100 kilo, we use an air freight. And if it's the sea freight, we normally using for at least one pallet. So that's a huge change. So this is the comparison of the different logistics mode. The other important part is studying the international logistics. You have to understand the infrastructure. There's other important thing you should to check before you start setting your logistics network. One of the example I already mentioned before, the Papua New Guinea, right? They don't have the sufficient delivery vehicle, so they couldn't take the large volume. Same, if you deliver it to those Africa or emerging markets, India, they have a very poor infrastructure. So you have to consider how you can get there. For example, the air freight, if you want to deliver air freight, you only can deliver to the place they have the airport, to take receive the air freight. So, and also the port, right? One of the example I wanted to share is when I work at Oxford University Press, we have the project, to printing a book in China or India. Okay, we compare the costs. We're asking the quotation from Chinese printers and Indian printer. Indian printer give us the cost less than half, 50% of Chinese, like very cheap price, for the printing the book. I talked to my director and give them the cost, the printing cost. So, and then we investigate the logistics. We set up the logistics, how we're going to ship from India to Melbourne, right? We compare the logistics. One thing is there's no direct vessel shipping from the Indian to Australia, Melbourne. But from China, they have a weekly vessel from China to Australia. So there's a huge difference. I talked to this, give this report to my manager and told them there's no direct vessel. That means you have to ship your goods from the Indian to Singapore or Sri Lanka, one of the ports, and then you have to wait the connecting vessel from Singapore or Sri Lanka to Australia. if during the peak time, the busy time before the Christmas and New Year, it's impossible. You can't get there on time because once you get to the Singapore or Sri Lanka, most of the vessels are fully booked. So that means you have to wait for the next one. If the next vessel is full, you have to wait for the after. So that will take sometimes a couple months, even more, to get your shipment to the warehouse in Melbourne. So yeah, after the management decide, they're not going to risk. So you can see logistics sometimes play a very important role, the key role to determine the business model. So yeah, so infrastructure, yeah, very important. So that's why Chinese BRI, One Belt One Road initiative. The first thing they're going to do is build the road, they build the port, they build the railway, because without the logistic system, you can't start your trading, you can't move your goods. So yeah. So when we look at the international logistics, the other important thing you have to remember is the international trade route. There are 3 important trading centers in the world. Okay, the first one is North America. That's the America, Canada, Mexico. The second would be Europe, UK. It's and the third one, Asia, China. So you can see that mainly the trading route, the shipping line is linked with this 3 trading route areas. You can see there's main seaport and airport. One thing I want to mention is the North Pole shipping routes. Okay, this has been discussed for a long time, and recently you see the U.S.-China trade war. Russia and China now is trying to start to using this North Pole shipping line route. So it's short compared to the traditional routes, and also they save the time and the fuel. During the summertime, it's one of the. So you can see the geopolitical impact on the international trading routes. Yeah. The other important thing for when we talk about the international logistics is about the shipping, okay? Because according to the report from the International Maritime Organization, IMO, more than 90% of the international trade volumes are delivery carried by sea. So that's why, and also the shipping is one of the true international industry. So that's why when you starting the international logistics or working related to the international logistics, you're often involved in the international shipping, ocean shipping. So you should understand those basic concepts, different type of service. There are 3 type of service here. The first service that is they're offering the scheduled shipping to the vessel will call into the different port, and so you're going to book those or the shipping agent going to book your vessel with the published dates, and also you have the Trump service. That's the unconventional route, the service they're using for the short fixed routing, and they also have the bulk services. So if you're interested about the shipping, there's a lot of the additional materials you can read. But here today we just give you a very brief introduction about the ocean shipping here. for the international logistics, one thing you have to you can't escape is the income terms. Okay, international commercial terms. If you work in the international organization or you working being involved in international shipping, this is a term you often used. Okay, that's the term. If you never hear about before, I can say this is term to use to identify the responsibility duties clearly between the buyer and the seller, because when you're doing the international trade, you have a seller, shipper, and the receiver, right? So income term gives you the clear term to decide who going to respond to the different risk. Okay, I use the income term. Income term normally update every year. This is one of the old one I use. You can find now the latest one. So you can start see if there's from the Ex Works all the way to the DDP. There's a different type of the terms. You can see, for example, Ex Works, the shipper will take the cost. That's not including any logistics costs. Normally, it's if you're asking for the quotation, for example, for the products you wanted to import from China, normally they give you Ex Work quotation. That means the goods costs, and then the shipper or the receiver will pay the costs normally from the pickup points all the way to the destination, the buyer's warehouse. So that's the Ex Works. The other popular one is the freight on board. Normally the seller will responsible the costs from the factory to the port of loading. So that's including the, for example, if you your factory located in that city, so the seller will cover the cost from the factory to the port, and that's including the custom clearance, the paperwork until upload to the vessel. So the buyer will pay the costs from the port of loading all the way to the destination. Yeah, and also they have the CIF, CPF. That's difference. How you're going to CIP, whether or not you're going to include the insurance or who going to pay for the custom charge, DAP, DDP. Yeah, Ex Works, for example, like I mentioned, that's a seller going have the minimum cost for the logistics. So normally the buyer will pay most, all the delivery cost, customs, prepare all the documents for the imports. FCA, freight carrier, FOB. So that's as I already mentioned, that's the seller will deliver the goods to the port normally nearest the port, and the buyer will take the ownership from the port to the destination. The other popular terms, DDP, I want to mention because nowadays e-business, online business become more and more popular. So delivery duty paid, DDP, that means the seller will pay for everything. For example, if you buy something from Amazon or eBay from overseas, normally they use DDP. So the seller will cover all the costs, risk from the factory or the country to your door. If you open the package, if you damaged or if it's a wrong products, you can return back. So that's normally the DDP they use for the other popular ones, DAP. For business use, normally if you importing some large goods or some item you don't know how much you're going to pay the costs. So you using DAP. DAP, that means the seller pay everything, all the cost from the delivery, like the exports, but they're not going to pay the custom charge. So this receiver will going to pay the custom charge. Because sometimes if you have experience dealing with the international logistics, you should understand the cost. Custom cost is one of the significant costs. So sometimes you don't know how much they're going to charge you until you get your goods clearance. So that's the DAP. Of course, there are different times of the type of the terms you used. So I strongly suggest you to to read the additional material to help you understand. The organization, a large organization, maybe use multiple terms. Okay, as I already mentioned, they may use multiple terms for the different supplier, different customers. And also maybe you have the brokers and the customer like a logistics agent, so they can help you. Normally, these terms they decide when you plan your logistics. Well, for example, if you start your business, and so that's a term normally you negotiate with your business supplier, your customer, and who going to pay what, and then you decide which income term you use. Air freight, this is one of the popular, getting popular, the delivery method you can use, and the one of the website I used before is flightradar24.com. .com. This is the website. You can tracking all the flights from the international flights, because normally they give you when you book your air freight, normally they give you your flight number, right? The flight code, and then you can find using the flight number to check where your flight going to departure and when they're going to arrive. Sometimes if you if you're dealing like the pharmaceutical company or the high value customer, that you have to understand when they're going to delivery. So this is one of the useful website I used. And also you have to think about the when you choose which model, the type of the transport you use. As I already mentioned, transit time, is one thing, and cost, right? It's everything based on your organization and your products. That's why you have to understand your products, your organization or your company. What's the strategy goals, and also there's a lot of non-economic factors, right? For example, like a trade war, geopolitical factors. There's a lot of uncertainties. So then you have to find the smart way. That's why I always told my students, you have to be smart. There's no standard solution. It's basically like a logistics supply chain. Different industry, they have different priorities, they have different products, and even the same products you might deliver to a different customer, right? Sometimes deliver to governments, sometimes you deliver to the retailers. You have different priorities. So that's why you have to find the way, the smart way to solve the problem. Like I mentioned before at the beginning of this lecture, you have to be a problem solver to be managing your logistic and supply chain. Logistic challenges, okay. This is things you have to understand for the international logistics. One thing from business perspectives, inventory. All right. International logistic, as I already mentioned at the beginning, international logistics is more complex and is take much longer time compared to the domestics. Normally involve the high volumes, the value in terms of the value, the cost. So how you're going to make sure you can deliver managing those inventory very safely. For example, if you delivery from a vessel, right, the shipping a 20-foot container from the Melbourne to UK will take you about 3 months time, right? 3 months time, the full container will take all the way from Melbourne to the UK. You can't do anything, right? And sometimes the value is more than millions, depends on the products. So that's why you have to planning your production, and you have to planning your sales, you planning your warehouse, yeah. And also you have to think about the return, what's your reverse logistics? Do you need a return? How are you going to provide the customer service? Yeah. So logistics, when you're managing the international logistics, there's other thing you have to think about. Nowadays, there are different type of the practice examples you can see, like Shein, Temu. I don't know, if they're selling the product to the India or Indonesia, but they're selling very popular. If you see, you can find those interesting case. Temu, they're selling the product to the United States, UK, include a European country with very low costs. And if you're not happy about the products, they're not accept any return. They just ask you to destroy the item. And also how you provide the customer service. Nowadays, you can offer different type of this because the technology, right? They change the business. You can use an AI to help with the customer service, and also not just using the telephone, emails. Nowadays, you can use your social media to contact with the customer. So inventory, yeah, that's one of the important issues you should remember when you plan your international logistics. How long, how much you want to, how much risk, the kind of the cost you can take. And also you have to think about the packaging, all right? From operational level, right? International logistics is not just about set up the network where they're going to delivery, but when you look at the details, you have to think about the package, right? What kind of the package you're going to use, cardboard or plastics, and wooden, yeah. So because different type of the packaging, even the different materials, they might have different requirement for the documents, right? Yeah, when I work in Australia, if we using those wooden pallets, we have to provide additional certificate, to prevent that they're suitable for to enter some country. So again, and for not just for the packaging is not just using for protect your products, because the international logistics transportation will take much longer time in a container safe freight condition. That's very rough. So that's why you have to think about how you're going to deliver your product safely. And sometimes you have to comply with the requirement for the customs. Even sometimes if you're using the DHL or third-party logistics, you have to comply with those requirements. Sometimes you have a shipper marker to identify, clearly identify your shipment, because sometimes think about it. It's not just when your shipment arrive to the warehouse. There's over 100,000 pallets, stuck in the warehouse. Sometimes if you don't have the correct packaging or the documents, and so sometimes it's going to lost forever. I remember one of the shipments we used to ship from Australia to China. no, from Australia to Indian, I think. Yeah, and the shipment unload from vessel to the Singapore, and they get a delayed, and so they can't. The warehouse staff told us they couldn't find our pilots because they couldn't find this our pilots. So we have to send this same the same shipment again from Melbourne to our customer. So you can see very important, not just for the customs, and also you have to for minerals requirements from different party and storage, right? And when you think about the delivery, and we mentioned before, logistics about two things, right? Delivery and the storage. And the delivery is about where, how, like we mentioned, where you're going to deliver your product, how you're going to deliver your products. Storage, and it was about where you're going to store your products. Sometimes if you can't find the warehouse, you have to find the place. I remember one of the project we did in before. We have 25 containers from the China to Papua New Guinea, right? So 25 container. We have to book the several vessels to take 25 container. Once they reach to the destination, we have to find the place, like an empty car park to put the 25 containers. Then then the government will take us the school to pick up those books from the location. So we even send our staff member, because 25 containers, we send our staff member to the China factory to monitoring all the process, and then they go to the Papua New Guinea, the destination, to work with the local government and to managing the storage. So yeah, again, you have to understand the products, selling the service, what customer what kind of service you want to provide. It's very crucial for the international logistics, because once if your goods are gone, it's out of your control. So that's why for the international logistics, if you don't know how to, not clear, for example, if normally, if you start your new business, right? Normally to the new country or new customer, normally you have a trial shipment. Normally that's how the third party service provider, they give you 2 or 3 trial shipments. So during this shipment, you can understand what kind of documents requirements, if there's any delays, or what's the customer requirements or the local delivery requirements. So yeah, so as we mentioned, international logistics has a lot of the uncertainties and the hidden risk. So when we talk about the logistic management, there are 2 types of the management system, because I think this is also important for today's topic. One is centralized logistic management, right? How you're going to manage your logistics based on your centralized decision making. One of the example I use here, when I work in Oxford University Press, before they have they allowed their own local staff team to make the decision. For example, if we have based in Melbourne, Australia, we can decide which local courier, which local warehouse, the delivery company we can use, right? And if the company, the Oxford based in New York, America, they can decide what's the local service they use. But so this is the decentralized logistics, sorry. And so yeah, so they basically based on your local markets. And then they changed to a centralized logistic management. So we have to report everything to the head office in the UK, the Oxford University Press. They got a head office in Oxford, so we have to report everything. Then the head office decide which supplier we're going to use. And what's the price we're going to pay, the price and the cost. So you can see that there's kind of a clear advantage, disadvantage, right? Because from Oxford University Press, they wanted to control, have a better understand of the cost of shipping, the transport, because the shipping cost is very expensive. I remember each year we spend, I can't remember exactly the number now, it's over 20 million Australian dollar for the shipping. So yeah, 50 or 20, yeah. So it's a huge number. So that's why they try to centralize the decision making. Yeah. So but for this argument, right, and how you're going to managing decentralized or centralized, again, so that's the management or the leaders have to think about what's the best way to manage your logistics system. Are you going to managing everything, control everything from the head office, or you let your local team, your local manager to decide how much you're going to use, which supplier you use, what's the rates? Because every time before when I'm managing the delivery, we have a decentralized system. We can negotiate the price, the delivery costs with the DHL. Every time we asking the quotation, they provide. After this, Oxford head office take over the logistics system. They take over every time. We just pay whatever the price from the agreement. So we can't negotiate the price because the price negotiated by the head office. And outsourcing, this I already mentioned before, is one of the important part in the international logistics service. Nowadays become more and more popular. And there's so many different type of the service. I suggest you to go to the DHL website or FedEx website. So they give you all the information, the service they provide. So you can think about what kind of service you can use. Exporting documents. There's documents normally you use. I already mentioned about the packaging, right? And labeling documents and insurance as well. All the international shipments require the insurance. If you don't have insurance, you can't get your freight on board with the vessel. So yeah, sometimes mostly you're using the agent. So agent will purchasing those insurance as part of the agent costs. But if you're managing your own shipments, those documents you should prepare. The packaging is important. I already mentioned it's not just easily goes through the customs or protect your products. Sometimes they will play a very important role because the staff member, the warehouse staff member, they can find your documents, correct document and shipment. So if you don't have any documents attached with the shipment, you're going to lose your freight. And also different supplier, customer, they might have different requirements. So that's why you have to work with them, find out what's the best way to managing those. And also the labeling as well. Shippers marker, country of origin, weights. Sometimes you have to provide and the venue for the customs clearance. Those are popular documents I list, and they include the mix with the sea freight, air freight. For example, the air freight, normally you have the airway bills. There's lumber, you can check your item from your service provider. If you're using DHL, they give you DHL airway bills. If you're using FedEx, you have FedEx airway bills. And the bill of lading, that's for the most for the shipping, safe freight, commercial invoice, those documents and certificates, they use them for their different purpose. And again, you have to check with your destination country because there are over 200 different countries and regions, right? So you have to understand those country requirements. You can go to the website, the government website. You can ask your colleagues. If you just join the new company, you understand what they did before, so you can follow the instruction. Don't change, because you never know what will happen. The insurance, okay, the reason of the insurance, I already mentioned, that's one of the important part of the shipping, international logistics. You have to protect you from those risk instance. Tariff and import phase, and you can see this is one of the important parts when you managing your international logistics supply chain, because you're going to calculate the cost, the cost. If the tariff, normally they're paid by the importers, right? So the importer will decide how much add up together and then charge it to the customer. So that's the import phase, and that's including the local charge. Different countries, they might have different type of the phase, so you have to familiar with those requirements. Airway bill of landing, those documents you will dealing every day. If you work in an international company, logistics, the packing list, those are most popular frequent documents you're going to provide. The commercial invoice, that's provided to the custom and brokers. They will charging you if it's any tax or the tariff based on the value of the goods. And also packing list, they show the purpose of your goods, what's included in your package. If it's dangerous goods or there's some specialized goods, you have to provide the additional certificate. For example, if you send the medical goods or the some pharmaceutical products to the America, you have to get a certificate from FDA in order to allow you to send the parcel. So that's why don't ship your goods until you fully understand the requirements. Because if you send out your goods without the clear understanding of the requirements, your goods will be held by the customs, or sometimes you have to face a huge penalty. So that's why normally they, as I mentioned before, a third-party logistic company will give you the free trial shipment. Sometimes give you 2 or 3 type of the trial shipment, so you can work out what kind of the documents you need. Certificate of origin, that's a very important part of the documents, because that will charging you the costs of the goods based on the like for example US, like all the goods from China now they will charge you over 200% of tariff. I didn't know what's current, but that's the news they mentioned, they're going to charge all the goods if they're from the China and some goods from a different country region, they can get a certain for example free agreement country. If you goods from those free agreement trade deal countries, you might get a quick custom clearance. And other certificates, right? There's a different type of certificate based on the products and the country origin, and like I mentioned before, the dangerous goods. and if it's agricultural products, you have to provide some kind of the certificates, ingredient certificate. Import, export. All right. So if you are a student or never have any experience, sometimes you might confuse about what is the import, what is the export, right? So the imports is the country you buying the products, okay? Export is the country selling the products, because that's very important when you fill up your documents. So like import documents, export documents. Yeah. So for the sustainability, this is one of the topics nowadays become very crucial and important. Sustainability nowadays is not just about the environment and also the social responsibility. The definition I use, from the Oxford English Dictionary. But if you understand the triple bottom line, it's sustainability going to look after not just about the environment, society, and also your economics performance. Those kind of the principles, how you're going to save the environment and save the costs. SDG goal, those UN goals, 17 UN goals, that's sustainable development goals. Normally each organization, they have the goals to help to achieve the sustainable development. So based on the UN, you can go to the UN website to get more detail, and also they can show you the project, how many projects they are working on, and which country they have the project. So you can have a better understanding how you can contribute. Logistic, as I mentioned, international logistic play a very important role to support the global sustainable development goal. As I mentioned, sustainability from the international logistic perspective, greenhouse gas emission is one of the important task. UK was the first country, to set up the legal framework to reduce the carbon emission. Even China now, they have set up by 2035 or 2050, they're going to achieve the net zero emission. So if you go to the country, different countries, you can see the governments, they have the planning. So as a business, how are we going to support those initiatives is important. The sustainability strategy in international logistics, okay, those hot topics you can consider. If you want to start in your master, even your PhD, right? Decarbonization is one of the hot topic, like how you're going to reduce the carbon emission. The Scope 3 emission is one of the important research topic. And the green warehousing, packaging, new materials, recycled package they used, and also the emission reporting standard ISO 14083. If you they provide the international standard framework to reporting the carbon emission. Collaboration for the sustainability, that's become very crucial now. The company alone can't achieve the sustainability. They must work together with the entire supply chain. If you are the business in the UK, you have to work with the factory, logistic supplier, and also you have to balance those cost, service, and environment performance as well. For the sustainability in the supply chain, there are some examples. I show you different countries. nowadays sustainability is not just about the environment and also the society, how we're going to contribute to the international, right? That's a different example, human rights, forced labor. You can and one of the question you might think about today, I think we nearly run out of time. How would you redesign an international logistic network to be more sustainable? I think that would be the question for you, everyone to consider, right? If you think about from academic perspective and from the managerial perspective, how we can improve the sustainability for your international logistic network. Remember, nowadays, the sustainability is not just about the environment protection and also how you're going to contribute to the society, the community, and yeah. Recap today, we talk about the logistics, right? Logistics play a very important role in this entire supply chain because they're moving the goods, right? Include the tangible and the intangible goods. Today, we focus on the freight movement. So that's why we talk about more about tangible, the products, the physical products, and also don't forget logistic also include the intangible flow and include the information and the money. Digital innovation, okay? And nowadays become important of the logistic innovation because this is contributed to the new business models, right? If we have the manager here, you see there's a lot of examples how the logistic innovation changed the world of business, like Alibaba and as mentioned, Temu, they try to get rid of the middleman and to sell the product from the factory to the final users. And also, you have to understand and consider the uncertainty and the risk. One thing, as already mentioned, the U.S.-China trade war, right? Nowadays, they cause a huge uncertainties, right? So how you can better protect your supply chain and utilize the logistic strategy to cope with those uncertainties. One thing is to work together with your supplier collaboratively and utilizing the technology innovation to managing those uncertainties. The final thing we also covered about environmental and social responsibility, the sustainability. That will be a part of the international logistics. You have to understand the requirement because international logistics today is not just about delivery goods, and also they have to fit to the business. Like the business, they have the goal to achieve their sustainability. Your logistics function have to support this kind of this strategy. Right, I think that's all for today. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wang. So
Thank
we
you.
have so many questions here on the
Okay.
chat room, but I think because we have limited time, I think three first question will be delivered to you. But first things first, students ask for the copy of the materials. Can we share
Yeah.
it to them?
Yes, I think I already
Okay,
shared with the
so
professor. Yeah.
Okay, so we will share the materials to the students. Okay, let's scroll back up here. There are questions from Dito Putra. He is a master's degree student from logistic management study program. He would like to ask, if we look at the trade war between the US and China, it has a huge impact on global logistics, from rising production costs to disrupting international supply chains. So what concrete steps do you think the world can take to strengthen the global logistics system so that it won't be easily shaken again in the future? Is it enough to move production centers to other countries like the US did? Or are there other more effective approaches such as international cooperation, technology, or trade policy reform? Okay, that is the first question. Can I go on to the next one, or would you like to answer it first?
Oh yeah, I think that's a very good question. Thank you. And also you can see the trade war still ongoing. The Trump still negotiate with the countries. I think if you wanted to ask the solution is maybe you have to think about which country you're going to focus on, right? If you're going to focus on the China with Indonesia, or China, Australia, China, UK, or Indian with the US, or the different countries. So that's why the geopolitical factor has played a very important role in the supply chain, and also different industry has a different impact as well, right? So so that you had a very good question, and I said, and also I present in our today's lecture. I encourage you have to be creative, innovative, and because the world going to be uncertain, at least for next 3-4 years. You know, Trump going to, we don't know what the next steps they're going to play around the strategy. You know, but then you have to, first things you have to understand what you wanted to achieve, what's your goal, and then understand your products, understand the markets, understand your customer needs, what the customer wanted to achieve. Because remember, the logistics is about to support delivery the product and service to your final customer, right? So then you understand those elements, so you can come with a different strategy. As I mentioned, there's no right or wrong things. So because we don't know what will happen, so as long as you comfortable, as you mentioned about technology cooperation, that's great. You know, you have to work with your partners. You have to become more transparency, build the trust. I think is a very important thing. The government, yeah, they played a role. But the most important for long-term collaboration, you needed to work with your business partners and to find the most suitable and smart way to dealing the issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll go on to the second question from Professor Agus Purnomo. He said that in the face of global uncertainties such as the US-China trade war, pandemics, and other geopolitical conflicts, how can companies build an integrated risk assessment and mitigation framework to establish a resilient supply chain? What extent do investment in digital technologies, cross-border collaboration, and operational flexibility contribute to sustaining international logistics continuity while maintaining competitive advantage?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, as I mentioned again. So risk and resilience will continue to become a hot topic. You know, if you want to start your PhD or master research, this will definitely become an important topics. And also I like you mentioned about the competitive advantage, how you can differentiate your product and service. Remember, international logistics is going to delivery to help you to enter new markets. So cross-border collaboration, yes, it definitely is very important. Sometimes the investment, not just about the money, right? Sometimes you need to build the relationships. Because we have very limited time, I haven't mentioned about the relationship management. So the relationships, that's why I mentioned about the culture very briefly. I can talk about hours about the culture. I teach in the international business in the UK. So relationship building, the relationship trust is definitely crucial. And again, people, you have to think about, understand what's your goal, what you wanted to achieve, and based on your the needs, and not just the company needs and also customer needs, you have to balance those strategy together. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Wang, speaking of future PhD student, are you accepting a PhD student right now? Because there are so many of my colleagues who would like to continue their study.
Yes, I'm accepting this PhD students. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so
Yeah.
unfortunately we have the last question for tonight, and I hope Dr. Wang would accept other question via email, yes, because we are running out of time. Okay,
Yeah.
we have from Mohammed Azamdin. He made this comment that it is better to check the duties and tariff rate before selecting suitable Incoterm. DDU or DDP may not be suitable if the duties and tariff is high, like in US situation. At the end, the cost of logistics affects selection of Incoterm. So what do you think about that, Dr. Wang?
Yeah, great. The tariff is definitely one of the important consideration. That's why you saw the news. Last month, I think DHL stopped all the freight from Hong Kong, all the parcel delivery from Hong Kong to United States because of the uncertainty of the tariff. So as I said, this ongoing event. I think they will come without some solution. And yeah, as I said, the US need Chinese-made products. And also China need the US markets. So they needed to find the win-win situation. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Vidya, is it okay to ask question to Dr. Mike directly, please?
Who is this speaking? AM?
Right. I'm one of the faculty in ULBI, Dr. Hijra.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, Dr. Mike, it's really insightful to listen to your lecture this afternoon, right? Tonight in Indonesia, or right in the UK, probably it's still afternoon. I would like to discuss about Amazon. Amazon is famous in the UK, in the Europe, right, in America, of course, but it's very few in Asia. In Asia, like for Southeast Asia, is only in Singapore, right, and even not in Malaysia, not in Indonesia. In Japan, right, Asia, Middle East, yes, they are there. And Turkey just recently. And in your perspective, I would like to know, probably you have like particular like perspectives. Why do you think Amazon's not that interesting to operate in Indonesia? Probably because of its massive challenges within the country, or because of the the business itself is not that interesting for them, or because they're like a local marketplace e-commerce is quite big as well. So if you have your perspective, Amazon, why not in Indonesia? Thank you, Ms. Vidya, Dr. Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good, very interesting question. So sorry, because I'm not really familiar with the Indonesia markets, but I can give you example of the what happened at eBay in New Zealand. I don't know if you hear about TradeMe, trademe.co.nz. This is one of the largest online platform, like similar like Amazon in New Zealand, as a dominate for many years. I believe all the New Zealand, every single person in New Zealand should know this website. So eBay, they try to enter the New Zealand markets. So they not just eBay and I think Amazon, they try to enter those market. So they fail. And so the TradeMe now still dominates the New Zealand markets. So I believe this is about the culture and also the company strategy, what they wanted to do, and how difficult to enter the markets. Sometimes you just the customer just don't like to buy from there. The other example, like Burger King, yeah, I think everyone knows Burger King, but in Australia, the Burger King's name is what's they called, Hungry Jack, right? So the Hungry Jack, they have the name in Hungry Jack. If you search this the brand, there's a lot the story about how the Hungry Jack, the Burger King, try to purchasing the brand and the rename, and then they got the purchasing the Burger King brand from private owner. Then they renamed back to the Hungry Jack. So sometimes the customer and also the culture, you just can't explain, can't get to those things. But back to the Amazon, I think the question is good, interesting, but I don't have any research in the Indonesia market. So I think that would be interesting question. I'm going to explore and understand maybe from the culture differences or yeah.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Probably it's more about logistic challenges, do you think?
I don't think so. Logistics is one thing. I think it is more like the markets, like the we have over 200 countries in the world. Yeah, there's if you want to talk to those company, impossible to cover everything, to all the countries. They have to set up some priority. But I think this will be a very interesting topic. We can explore. Maybe you can have some important finding based on this topic.
Right. I guess so. It's interesting. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Hijrah. I think that is going to be the last question for tonight. Unfortunately, yeah, for others who have asked questions, yeah, we really appreciate that. Maybe you can send the question to Dr. Wang via email, and I know that Dr. Wang will be answering them, right? Okay, so allow me now to give the summary just a little bit, yeah. So today's lectures explain how international logistics works. It's all about planning and managing how goods move between countries. It covers the importance of global trade, different transport methods, and how companies use tools like Incoterm and digital technology to ship goods safely and efficiently. It also talks about the problems companies face, such as packaging, storage, and customs paperwork, and how they can go green by using more sustainable ways to move products. Okay, so by this being said, on behalf of OB, we extend our deepest appreciation to Dr. Michael Wang for his interesting presentation and for sharing his expertise in the field of international logistics. We also thank all of you, students, faculty members, and guests for your enthusiastic participation and engagement. Yeah, we are very sorry we have only limited time. Maybe in the future we will have more interesting discussion with Dr. Wang. And we hope today's lectures can broaden your understanding and perspective in this globally significant topic. Okay, so please make sure to stay tuned for more inspiring session from the OP Global Lecture Series every Thursday night, yeah? So, ladies and gentlemen and students, until we meet again, stay connected and keep learning. And UBI, best talent, bright future. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Wang.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Dr.
Have a
Wang.
wonderful
Bye-bye.
evening. Goodbye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Michael.
wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Wong.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you
Goodbye.
again next
Assalamualaikum.
time. Don't forget to scan the QR code below to register your attendance and get your certificate in instance. Thank you very much, Bu Mania. Thank you very much, Pak Hilman. Thank you very much, my friends.